2 of Just Joshing. I am your host, Joshua Pentelarusco. I write stuff in Podcast 2. Part 2 of my conversation with Miranda Krogstad is right up next, and it'll be coming out your way real soon. I just got to say a couple things first. It's time for my second ever live podcast. It'll be this March 22nd at Owl's Nest Books. I will be launching The Wandering God there. I will be the guest, interviewed by my very talented sister, Ray Hope Pentelarusco. It will be a fun show, I promise. Show up, be there, it'll be great. Beyond that, well, it's been kind of busy, just getting caught up on correspondences. I'm just getting some stuff worked out. I got a new business card kind of coming up, which just makes me excited. I kind of accidentally invented a board game. Yeah, it happened. It's kind of by accident, and yeah, something I would do. Beyond that, I joined the Alexandra Writing Society. That's right, I did. Alexandra Writing Society is an organization that helps the writing community. Robin Van Eck has been doing it great. She was a guest on the show. That will be up on the archive soon enough again, before you know it. But no, she does an incredible job. A friend of mine, Sarah Johnson, is currently the writer in residence, and I encourage everybody to go check her out. Sarah's one of the I am a big fan of Sarah, personally, because she's one of a kind, and every time I see her, I kind of smile. She is who she is, and I love that about her. But she's also one of the best people when it comes to caring about the community and also just good writing in general. And I think everybody should take this opportunity to go and have some fun. All right, let's get to the interview, shall we? This is back on, by the way.
Beautiful. Okay, great.
So
now we're going to talk about humans.
We're going to talk about humans at this point, because
I'm going to maybe kick you out, put my feet up here.
yeah, that's right. You're one of those terrible bed hugs, aren't you?
Oh God, I'm the worst. Well, the thing is, I egg is what we call it. It's like I curl up into a little egg shape, and it's just not conducive to anyone else being in the bed because I'm like a big ball. So
your boyfriend comes out with bruises, doesn't he?
He drives him crazy for sure, but he's gotten used to it. I have my little egg-in corner of the bed. I'm always wrapped in like 5 layers of blankets, so it's just like I couldn't actually hurt anyone. I'm just very inconvenient space-wise.
Oh, okay. Because I had this picture of you just being just how spread out you are right now, just being like this and smacking just randomly.
Oh yeah. Well, when I was younger, that was very much the case. My parents called me a blender baby. My sisters and I had actually 3 single mattresses side by side on the floor when we lived in New Brunswick, and I was in the middle mattress, and I'd wake up with my head on one sister's bed and my feet on the other sister's bed, and it's just
they just hate you.
I guess they didn't mind because they never they would have woken me up and shoved me over. They're not shy.
No, but it's just one of those things. I just look at that. It's like, well, no, it's one of those like, this is what she does. You can't really blame her.
Yeah.
Because she's out. She's not like being this. She's the nicest person here. She just decides that she owns the room.
Yeah. When the lights go out, man. I mean, like when I shut off, there's not much I can control. And I mean, my boyfriend calls it zombie Miranda. I just kind of I'll make noises just like if he says something, Rich, can you just move a little bit? And then I kind of grumble and roll with just very monster primitive movements. So that's nighttime
okay.
Miranda.
Nighttime Miranda beats people. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not intentionally. I'm very docile, just very zombie-esque for sure.
You're very assertive in your space.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, does that work?
Sure.
Does that work?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not quite as friendly, that's for sure.
Yeah,
not that I'm outright aggressive, but I'm very just grumbly. I'm a grumpy old man.
You're a grumpy old man when you sleep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some kind of cross between a grumpy old man and a zombie.
Okay.
Grumpy old man zombie. So far we have mad scientist from last podcast and grumpy old man zombie from this one. So
yeah, I know. It's okay.
I'm coming off great, I feel.
Well, I decided I liked you when I saw the Pokemon box thing. I decided I saw that. I'm like, I think I like you. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, she's so silly in all the right ways. I can live with that.
I'm glad you believe that. It's only the right ways for some people. So.
Well. Okay, look. about unicorns that part rainbows.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
See? There you go. You just got to find the people who are the same kind of crazy as you.
My sister got this.
There is a farting unicorn rainbow
keychain
right in front of my face right now. That is craziness.
Yeah, that was from my sister. So it's her fault that I wrote about the unicorn, by the way.
There you go. Okay,
it's her fault.
She requested
she requested it. She legitimately requested it. It worked in the story, and she made me promise not to kill it.
Well, that's a good promise to keep. I feel like killing a unicorn is like kicking a puppy in a story. It's just something you don't do. Have you ever kicked a puppy in a story?
No, and I've never kicked a puppy in a story.
Have you killed a unicorn?
I almost did.
Oh my gosh. Did you torture the unicorn?
No, it wasn't torture. No, it just wasn't torture.
When you say almost, it sounds so ominous.
You have to read and find out.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right, well.
Yeah, you have to read and find out.
There you go.
He talks in wingdings, though, so he's awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it worked, right? It's her fault. I literally so I'm doing 2 live podcasts for sure next year. One of them's for Creative Edge, and the other one is going to be my sister interviewing me. I'm actually kind of scared.
Oh, that's going to be so cool, though.
Yeah, no, it will be. But
on your podcast.
It'll be a lot. I'm going to be the guest on my own live podcast.
That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I've been interviewed on my podcast once before. But by the time that role comes around, it'll be in over 100 episodes since.
Right.
And she wants to do it. And again, she's my sister, and I love her, so why not?
Yeah, have at her.
Exactly.
Right? That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, siblings podcast.
That's right. Actually, she's my hardest interview. To be honest with you, she's the hardest person for me to interview. I'm not kidding. I have no problem talking. She's cooperative. I should rephrase this. She's the most cooperative person that's difficult for me to interview.
Okay.
Yeah, right. There was one interview, I'm not going to mention who it was. She cut me off at every attempt to try to talk about something. I just gave up after 20 minutes because it was just like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's just one-sided conversations.
Well, I don't mind if you're quiet. Just work with me. And but she was very adamant about this is what she's going to say while things are on and recorded. Her most interesting part was actually right when I turned the recorder off, and I was like, I hate you so much in my head. I can't say who it was because the interview hasn't aired yet, but it's like I was like, I hate you. I don't mind, like, quiet's fine. Like, if you're naturally quiet, I'm good with that. But if you're I can coax a conversation out of you eventually. It might not be like the most free flowing.
Right.
Doesn't matter. Like I'm still gonna get something out.
Yeah.
But no, she was.
Really? See, I thought that as a podcast interviewer, you'd want somebody who fills all the time. That you're just like, dude, have at her. I'll just sit back here.
No. I do. But like for me, the key is cooperation.
Right.
If she
and collaboration.
Somewhat, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, it's never a one-sided show.
Yeah.
I can carry a conversation if need be, but I would rather it be like, okay, we're talking about something that's important to both of us.
Yes.
And you're not, what's the term? You're not, or they're not, they're involved.
Yeah.
But if you're getting shut down for everything you can say, you're like, well, okay, this has become a question and answer interview, which I hate, number one, and number two, I'm like, well, and then when you say your most interesting stuff off to boot, it's like, oh, why? Why couldn't you have said this on the podcast?
That's funny.
Right, but it's about, like, the idea is I do casual conversations because I want people to be themselves. I don't want to be just talking to myself. I can do that. I do that all the time. I don't need help on that, right?
Oh, dude, conversations with yourself are the best.
Yes.
But they get boring after a while because the only person in your brain is you. Though I mean, I have different people in my brain, I'm sure, but but it's better when you have another person in front of you. Absolutely. Yeah. But you're right. Like, some people don't think of whether what they're saying is applicable to the other person too, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're pretty huge word nerds, so we usually have quite a bit to talk about. There's a lot of overlap between our worlds, right? Like, it's like, yeah, I'm a spoken word poet and you write more novel length stuff, but there's still a lot of overlap between those worlds. Plus, we're both crazy in some of the similar ways.
Yeah.
But, like, even if you're talking with somebody who, you know, for example, one of my best friends is in science, right? And actually, my best friend is in science. She has her own genetic engineering company. It would sound like we would have nothing to talk about. Right, but you always find the common ground, right? We're both essentially entrepreneurs, right? Like, I have to market and sell my spoken word poetry. She has to market and sell her science, right?
And you're both dealing with language.
Yeah, absolutely. She is actually the best presenter and speaker that I know.
I'm going to take one step further for you. Something to realize. Essentially, DNA is 4 letters.
What does that mean?
Well, there's all the different letter like. The
ATCG?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So when she's
sorry, I was like DNA 1, 2, 3. I'm pretty sure I can't.
No. Yeah. But she essentially plays with that all day. If you really sit there and think about it.
Right. Coding is that. Yeah.
Coding is language.
Yeah.
And so she does it. Her application for it is different than yours.
Yes.
But she deals with language all the time. It's just again, this goes back to the engineer thing we talked about earlier in the first conversation. Engineers today.
Yeah.
We're more engineers today. Engineers are more artists today.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So, people who separate science and language, I don't think are looking at the full picture, because you really have to be creative in both science and language and art and all that kind of stuff, right? Like, both of those involve creativity, both of them involve thinking outside of the box, both of them involve some formula too, right? Like, I'm sure that you have formulas for your stories, just like I have formulas for my poetry, where, like, I know how to make a good internal rhyme now, and that is entirely formulaic. I know how to construct a decent storyline within my poem now. That is also formulaic, right? There's a lot of things within language and art that, and I'm sure you could say the same for anything, for painting, how to construct shadows and, perspective and different things. That's all math as well, right?
Yeah.
So people who separate these worlds, I don't know what good that does them, There's so much overlap.
I actually laugh when musicians tell me they suck at math. It's like, no, you don't.
No, yeah.
I know you do.
Dude, you are always in different time signatures, breaking it down into 6 and 18ths and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Is that right? 8ths and 16ths? That's what it is.
Yeah, but again, language is ultimately numbers. Numbers applies to everything.
Yes.
So, I one of the things I got 2 crazy goals next. Well, I have 3 goals next year.
Love it. Bring it on.
Goal number 1 is to move to a more daytime workspace, because the reason being is
you're leaving us.
No, I'm not.
You're leaving the lurkers of the night.
No, I'm not. So I can be a lurker of the night. Okay. No, because my current day job is getting to the point now where I have to book too much time off to do the things I need to do.
Right.
All right, and while I like to think my books and stuff will eventually make the money to make up for it down the road, that's great. But I'm thinking in the short term, right? I need to change my hours from like the afternoon to the morning to do a day job of some kind. I could be I don't care if it's a janitor. I don't really care what it is. I just need to do it. Yes. Right. So that's 1. 2, when I come back from Mexico in January or in January or February, I may have to wait a month. But after that, the thing about the current job is I'm going to miss the physicality. I lift something between 6,000 to 10,000 pounds a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That isn't going to. So I'm not a big weight guy for that reason. I don't really feel I don't have the inclination to lift. The only thing I kind of want to lift is a pretty woman, but that's about it. That's about it. I don't want I got nothing to prove lifting anything, because I've already lifted a ridiculous amount of stuff every day.
Absolutely.
But I do know when I do leave this job, I am going to miss the physicality. So I'm caught, because I have to do something super physical to actually get in shape.
or I'm going to lose it. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do next year is I'm going to go to a more intense training schedule to see if I can actually be a firefighter at school too.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's gonna be so cool.
That's goal 2. Goal 3 is the podcast turning into a stream. That's why I'm also like day job.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
Get it.
I will.
Get it.
I know that. Then we won't have to worry about it. You'll come to my house and drink my beer, and I'll see moderately buzzed Miranda because I get the feeling that that drunken Miranda may slur. I may be wrong on that, but
I hate to disappoint, but I don't drink beer. Yeah. I do drink. Like I mean, not like regularly, but I mean like.
I don't drink.
I'm more like I'll drink anything that tastes like juice. Like like port or like a really
some wines, rum.
Or anything that could have an umbrella in it, you know, like if you think that way, I'll drink anything.
It's all good. You still drink more alcohol than the average.
There you go. Right? But usually I'm a peppermint tea with honey kind of girl. I am honestly a grandma in my heart.
No, it's okay. I play with loose leaf teas. Again, my dad's a herbalist, so right now my current tea is green tea.
Ooh.
It's green tea, cinnamon, and what the heck was the other one I use? Nettle. And that's my current loose. I'm an alchemist.
There you go.
I am my dad. That's oddly. In some ways, it's a little disappointing, but it's true.
It's always a weird thing to be like, oh my gosh, I'm like my parents. Is that a good thing? I don't know. Okay, let's go with it. But circling back to your 3 goals, because I feel like actually, at least 2 of the things you touched on, the day jobs and the kind of physical activity, are things that have been really important in my career too. First of all, I never call it a day job. Side job is always what I call it.
Okay.
I call it real job and side job. My real job is writing because it's what takes most of my time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also like now I'm very fortunate that that's most of what I get paid for also. But I mean, even before it was, I know, high five, yes. But but even before that was true, I would still call it my real job.
Yeah.
Even when I was a student and I did more studying than I did writing, writing was still my real job. That's my passion. That's what I want to be doing. That's what I sneak into all the corners of my life. Like we said last time, mad scientist style, just lock myself in the basement, lights off, headphones on. So yeah, always like having a side job. I don't think there's any shame in that.
No, there's not.
So many people are like, I haven't really made it unless I don't have any other source of income. And it's like, why did you put that kind of pressure on your creativity? Like, is that necessary? You know what I mean? Like, of course we all strive towards that, but for me, I like having the safety net of like, I have a tutoring student or 2 if I, need a little bit of like stability in my life. Last year, I cleaned houses, like just every 2 weeks I'd clean this one house, and like really flexible things. Like you said, you don't care if you're a janitor, you don't care like what you do. It's just the important thing for me is always that poetry can be my main focus. And so I think that like so many people get caught up on this whole like, but how do you survive and how do you eat? And it's like, well, just be humble, first of all. Don't be too proud to take a side job. And second of all, with your main source of income, with me, my poetry, diversify that as well, right? Don't corner yourself into one thing. Like you do podcasts, you do novel writing, you are constantly creating something new, right? You're trying these like live podcast shows as well, right? Like, can I do live performance and audio recordings and page printing? And have a bunch of different things. For me, it's like, can I have, school gigs and nighttime performances and conferences and charities and teachers conventions? Like, can I hit all these different things that play on different strengths of mine that still allow me to do my craft?
What we're both going into is multiple revenue streams.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's where we're both going into. I recognize, like, for me, I'm gonna call it the day job just for the sake of argument. The idea is just for this side job. Call it
a side job. It'll make me cringe.
Yes, fair enough. But I recognized this back a long time ago that I'm not retiring, like with any kind. Nobody is. I think if you are under the age of 50 and you believe you're retiring, I got news for you. The only way you're gonna to retire is if you build it yourself. No company is going to do that for you anymore. And I've known this for a long, long time. But again, I don't feel ashamed. Like I've been a janitor. I've cleaned houses. I've worked in gas stations. I've done coffee stuff. I've worked in a grocery store. I got no fear. There is not a single job out there I'm afraid to do.
Yes.
Right, and that's important too, because when you start setting limits, what you will and will not do, you are cutting yourself off. Yeah. I really don't like cleaning toilets. It's not fun. I'm not gonna. I could tell some horror stories that are probably not even fit for this podcast. Some of the things I've seen, but the truth of the matter is, the fact of the matter is, it really doesn't matter. A job's a job.
Yeah.
Right. A job is a job.
Honestly, just be humble, and then that is what's gonna make you a writer for life.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like, basically, I think it was Elizabeth Gilbert who got me into this train of thinking, but just like, you know what, like, if I make $1 million at this, I'll continue writing. If I make $0 at this, I'm gonna continue writing. But I'm gonna keep doing it because that's my job. That is what makes me me and what makes me happy, right? It's my passion, it's my job. And she calls it, I think, her vocation, right? Instead of just her job, right?
I actually like that better. Her vocation is actually trumps, because if it's a job, you're obligated to do it. Like
right.
for me.
And she said she's worked a lot of jobs on the side of her vocation. You know what I mean? Like that's the distinction for her.
Yeah. I mean that's it's a big thing is honestly, I mean, I use my job. I do. I use it. It's I've said this publicly. It's my bitch. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Fair enough. That's a good way to see it, though, because you should be able to leave at 5 p.m. and leave that all there, or whenever you end.
No, that's the thing, right? I'm just looking at just from me personally.
Yeah.
Like the enemy we always have is time. It's kind of why I'm so driven to do what I do. Why I do all the crazy things I do is because. Well, I'm going to rephrase that. All the things I do, because I only have so much time in the day. I don't have the time. And the fact of the matter is, I can't get time back. I just can't. And you got to look at what you're doing. I don't hate my job, and I don't care about my job. There's a very big distinction there. It's not the end all be all, because I know. There will come a day where I will either walk away or they will let me go. And that, again, there's nothing personal about that for me. That is the way it is.
Amen.
Right? So next year what I'm thinking is, okay, this needs to be taken care of. But once that's done, I can't, I want to be able to go to patisserie, and I'll read one of my epic poems, whether it's The Watcher, Storm Dancer, or The Wandering God, or whether it's the one I'm going to show you when this is over, right? Whatever that is. Then, or whether it's me doing comics like The Six Figure Revolution, or whether it's novels, or whether it's me doing podcast shows. Well, they're all my jams. That's kind of thing.
Whatever jam you choose.
Yeah. But the thing about it is the evenings are going to, by necessity, are going to need to become more and more free. And so it might take a year next year, the whole year, for me to get to that point. Right, because even when I get to a day job, it's probably going to be that moment where I'm going to have both jobs until I'm secured in the next one. But when that happens, right?
Yeah.
I shift, I walk away, because at that point, my current job no longer serves my purposes anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's a very big, I think, a big distinction too. It's not that I might work another dozen jobs when it's all said and done. Who knows? But
they're just a job.
Exactly.
And you have such a healthy attitude towards them of when it's time to let them go, right? And you are choosing jobs that are going to serve your writing, right? That are going to give you the time you need when you need it, right? And are going to leave your evenings open. So if you want to do shows, if you want to, put yourself out there.
I mean, which is the final step too. I think something I did a talk at IFWA, which is the writing club that meets at Century Box.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, and I talk about marketing, and I talk about marketing. Sales to me is really an equation. Who are you? What do you offer? Why should I care? That's my
Yes. I don't know if we said this on the podcast last time. I think you just said it to me and it blew my brain.
Yeah, no, because it makes sense, right? It's so simple, but it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But there's a component to that I didn't mention, that I'm going to mention here, and this. At some point as an artist, you need to take chances on yourself and not be afraid to fail. And you got to put yourself in those situations. The current problem where I'm at is it's not that I hate it. In fact, like I said, for the next little while, I still am going to need it, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I can see it now. It's coming to a point where, hey, I want to go read at Miranda's event. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, you do.
But I can't do it because I have to work.
I know.
Yeah.
I've been there before, man. Over the summer when I work at day camps, like, especially this summer because I did like physical work. Oh yeah, I was gonna get back to that too. Anyways, because I did like physical activity classes. At the end of the day, man, nothing else was gonna happen. I had to just collapse. Like I went to no events, did nothing, right? So you want a balance. You want something where you get some, you know, like, do you want your work to be physical and then you can do kind of the mental stuff at the end of the day, or do you have no energy left to do the mental stuff at the end of the day? Like, where is the balance between how many hours you spend working, how much energy you have left, like whether if you do too much mental work at work, then you can't do mental work at home, so you want something less, I don't know. So you have to find the balance that works for you. Cause
yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
Like the beautiful thing about this job is I enjoy the physicality. It's something I actually really enjoy about the job, because it's like, okay, I can lift 10 tons and I'm still good to go for another hours, right? But that's why the firefighter thing is intriguing to me, because when I'm not fighting fires, I'm essentially paid to work out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is the best thing for your creativity. Like, when I think of the times that I was most productive in my life, it's when I also had my body taken care of with my brain, right? Like, it's like I'm eating well. Like when I went to the BAMP Center for the spoken word program, they provided the meals for us, and there's a big buffet, so we could pick, you know, which vegetable and carbs and different meals that we like, different things we liked and were best for us, or just best for our taste buds depending on the day. But you know, like, we got to pick our meals, they were made for us. There was a gym there, so whenever I felt like it, I could go and work out, just go for a run, or there was beautiful hikes just out the back door, right? Like Tunnel Mountain was right there. So it was like basically whatever I needed for my body, that was taken care of. So when it came time to use my brain, bam, it was ready.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like same with like when I was in crunch time for my Unspoken show, this show that used sign language and poetry together, and it was really stressful time for me. But I made sure to go to the gym every day while I was in the peak of my stress, because it helped clear my mind and made me more capable of dealing with the stuff that was happening.
So just out of curiosity, are you working out regularly now, or?
I wish I could say yes. I actually have my gym gear with me today because I'm going to the Y. So now that it's colder out, I go to the gym. In the summers, I mostly bike and walk and that sort of thing.
Oh,
so
that's actually pretty good too.
Yeah. So when the snow hits, and again, as I said, over the summer I had a very physical job, so I didn't really need that. I had a free gym pass because I worked at the university, but I like almost never used it because I was working out for 8 hours a day with kids. So once you're done that, you're like, I think I'm good.
I got nothing to prove. See ya.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But no. So now I'm getting back into it because it's the winter. I just get my low-income YMCA pass because, you know,
whatever.
Cheap, easy to work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't care where I am as long as I'm able to just go. You know, like just walk, just run, just, you know, shoot some hoops, whatever you need to do.
Yeah. For me at this point, because again, lifting isn't exactly appealing to me at this point in time.
Yes, and fair enough.
Yeah.
Everybody has their different jam. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think like I will enjoy lifting again when this job is done, but right now it's like, no.
Yeah.
But I'll do it. I can lift almost anything. It doesn't do anything for me anymore, but I'll do it. But no, what it comes down to with me at this point is I really enjoy swimming. And I don't get to do it enough. Right? So
my Oma has started that, and it's such a great form of exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, And it's whatever your jam is, right? Like for some people, that rhythm of just stroke after stroke is what they need. Like for me, I love long walks too, even in the wintertime.
Yeah.
I'll just bundle myself up with like 3 pairs of socks and, 5 sweaters or whatever I need.
So you're like this giant abominable ninja.
I like can't move my arms.
You're the abominable ninja.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. That's exactly what I am.
Yeah, I just see it, just your eyes, and you're like, it's cold.
Just waddling down the street, absolutely. But I love walks, and actually that's where I do most of my writing. I bring my cell phone with me, and because I find that when I sit in front of a computer and I'm just like, okay, it's time to create now, I sometimes freeze up. I've gotten better with it over the years because I'm just more used to it. But I find that if I go for a walk, my mind's kind of allowed to slowly process things at its own pace. And then whenever I'm ready to write, I can type a couple things, put it back in my pocket, just keep walking, let the ideas come. Okay, this line fits there. Okay. Oh, maybe I'll put a couple more bullet points. And then sometimes I just sit down and start writing. Sometimes I keep walking the whole time. But that process of just like doing, I find, allows me to think. It's a weird combination because sometimes when, but when it's almost like meditation, isn't it? When you're just doing repetitive action for you, stroke after stroke. I don't know if you find this, but for me, like with walking, just the step after step, just that kind of meditation allows my brain to wander in the way it has to.
So walking and me have an interesting relationship because I still remember this when I was a kid in Park Hill, Ontario. So I've lived everywhere, as you can see.
Yeah, me too, dude. Me
too.
We'll have to compare locations later.
That was my first experience doing a lot of walking because I was just far enough away that it was a long walk, but just short enough that the bus wasn't going to pick me up.
Yes.
Right. So anyone who lives in a small town, there's a balancing point there where they say Right.
Right.
And so my first I would walk a kilometer a day when I was 7 years old. I love walking.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. I wander. I'm not crazy about it in the winter so much because I'm already, like you said, I do a lot of physical, like I'm in a trailer that's colder sometimes than outside, so
right.
I don't feel like freezing more than a few hours at a time. And that's just me, guys.
That's me too. I have to bundle if I'm going to be outside, that's for sure.
But no, I do enjoy, like it's not uncommon for me even now, like my house is off Center and 16th, and so downtown, just like I will walk that whole route up. It's an uphill walk, but it's a nice walk. It's a pretty walk, and it's not like I said, it's not an uncommon thing. I like, again, I don't do it as with a regular routine kind of deal, but
yeah. It's I don't know how I got hooked on walking. I feel like maybe it was the hikes that I did when I was younger. I also walk to and from school pretty much everywhere I lived. My parents always planned it so that we lived close enough to the school to walk. And we've moved quite a few times, so that's impressive that like every town we lived in, we've been close enough to walk to school. There was one town that we lived in for like 9 months that we had to take a bus to, but otherwise I've walked every town. And I don't know, there's something about it that just clears out my mind the way that nothing else does.
Yeah.
Just the fresh air, like the sounds, the pitter patter of the feet, just like the rhythm, just I don't know, just you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You feel me.
I do. So let's see. So what does Miranda do for fun?
What do I do for fun? Oh my gosh. Poetry. I don't know. Like I do lots of stuff outside of it, I guess. But poetry's my joy.
No, but poetry. No, I get you. No, I'm talking about like the fun stuff. Like I said, on Facebook right now, there's a picture of her and her friends. One of them dressed up as Pikachu in a box fort, which I.
It was actually a giraffe.
A giraffe. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
yeah. I still cracked up.
That's fair. It's less weird being a giraffe onesie than a Pikachu onesie.
I see. Here's the weird thing. I don't really think that's that weird. And maybe that's just not because I.
You are so the right person to interview me. Holy man.
No, because to be honest with you, I wish people were more open. And that's It was weird because I thanked, like going back to the thank you thing, I thank somebody like just because they've been, again, just everything I've gone through. I worry sometimes I'm too preachy on there sometimes, but I just, again, she's just quietly just been very quiet about it. It's like, thank you very much, and she actually goes to me, no, you're very open, and there should be more people like you. And I thought it was a really nice compliment.
That's a beautiful compliment.
Yeah.
That's so important. Actually, like openness is the biggest requirement for me with all my friends and relationships. My mom actually made me write out a list of wants and needs for my relationships in life. Not because like the perfect person is going to fall into your lap after you write that, but because you're going to be more aware of the people who fit you once you write that. And openness is like number one.
It's number two. Number one for me, authenticity.
Okay. Okay.
I can handle.
Gotta be real, man.
Well, that's it. I like the worst thing you can do to someone like me is say one thing and do another. If you're gonna say it, do it. If you're not going to do it, don't say it. Or say no.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I mean, and because again, my ultimate pet peeve with people is when they waste my time.
Yeah.
I hate it. Like I like that to me was like, and so I'm like, how do you waste my time? The only real way you can waste anybody's time, honestly, is if you're not authentic. You can screw up.
Yeah.
There's a point when that becomes a waste of time. But an honest mistake's forgivable.
Yeah.
Like being just dishonest about your intentions and being like.
Yeah.
Like your actions tell me more about you than your words do. So if you make your words consistent with your actions, you're not there's no waste. Like there's no waste. And so for me, you can be shy, you can be quiet, that's fine. I'm plenty loud.
Yeah.
Right, that's fine.
Yeah.
But there comes a point too where it's like, okay, who are you? Right?
Yeah.
All right. If you are saying this and doing something different, who are you? Like, who are you really? And what are you really saying? Right?
Yes.
And that again, I can't deal with that.
Yeah.
Some people can, I can't.
Yeah, and it's just like you have to know about yourself. And I'm glad that you said too that like an honest mistake is forgivable, because some people authentically believe that they can do more than they can. Yeah. And promise things that they just can't deliver on, but they really believed that they could. I have a lot of those people in my life, because when you're friends with dreamers, that's what happens, man. They're like, oh yeah, I'll be there at 7, right after this thing that starts at 8, and then I'll go to this other thing that starts at 10, and I'll be able to make all 3, absolutely, you know? And you know in your heart, you're like, you know, my best friend is definitely like that. The girl in the giraffe outfit in the box, also the genetic engineer, so she's made a few appearances in this podcast. But she is definitely like me. There's this word they said on Facebook, a tid optimist. So it's someone who's optimistic with their time and truly believes they can do more than they can.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that kind of authenticity I find is fine, because I'm like, you authentically believed that you could do all those things.
As long as there's no money involved, because when money that gets a little messed up when that happens.
I try not to involve money with any of my friends.
No.
Yeah.
But that's the line there. I find that stuff's not so forgivable.
So you're talking about people promising you.
Oh no. But if you promise me bank and don't deliver that's a different level altogether. I find
we gotta eat, man.
Yeah, exactly.
We're
Exactly. But it's more along the lines of the fact that I find, again, someone being generous with their time and going for it. That again, when there's nothing really involved, it's very forgivable. But the moment it's like, okay, now there's like money, now there's something on the line, I find that becomes less like that's just my experience is by being on both ends of that, that hiring somebody and also being that guy.
Yeah.
Right? Once money enters the equation, that has to take a backseat even to some degree there. That's my experience.
Yeah, money is very tough. My policy with lending, first of all, is that I don't give anyone money that I am okay with not getting back.
Yeah.
And then as far as gigs are concerned, I try, it's taken a while to get to this place, so I do organize some events, and so what I generally try to do nowadays is promise people less than I think I will be giving them.
Yes.
And then they can be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Right? I've never promised somebody more than they've gotten. What I have said is you'll get this % cut, and then maybe there's not a big show up from the audience sort of thing. But I think it's really important to deliver on, like, especially, like, I mean, artists have to eat, man.
Absolutely.
And I mean, they get to decide. As soon as you say, I can pay you $50, they can either say yes or no. As soon as you say, I can pay you this % cut from the tickets, they can say yes or no. And I've had people say no to the wages that I've offered them, but it's their call at that point, right?
Absolutely. I've been late just with life stuff happening. But
Yeah.
I find once you communicate like what's going on, there's a certain level of forgiveness. Now you can't do it consistently because then they think you're full of shit. But if you make a promise and you keep it generally more often than not, you can again, honest mistakes are forgivable.
Yes.
Right? And things happen too. Hey, my so and so died. That sucks.
Yes.
I'm not in this place to do this right now. I understand. I'm crying a little bit, but I understand. Right. But again, life happens, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big part of last year I was late we didn't start working until I was able to actually make sure that she was compensated, but I was about to get started working on The Wandering God like last December in terms of art, and then I got garnished. So I told her what was going on. I told her, if you want to wait until then, I'm sorry, but this is just kind of how it is. She understood, right?
Yeah.
That was
And just understanding fellow humans goes such a long way, right?
I love
just
how you
being
say
like,
humans.
I'm sorry, it's a habit. I don't know where it comes from. But yeah, like just understanding people is so important. It's like, it's so easy to bend yourself out of shape. But this is what we talked about, diversifying your business, right? Or what did you call it? Multiple revenue streams, right? However you want to put it. Making it so that you don't depend on one thing, so that if somebody backs out on you, you're like, dude, that's okay. Life happens, right? Like you can't control some things. I can't control some things. And just to have kind of the financial stability to be like, yeah, doesn't mean that I don't get to eat this month, right?
Yeah.
Like that's.
No, it's one of those things too, where it's just like you got like communication again. Going back to that's why authenticity is such a big thing with me personally. It's just like if you're real, people respect that. If you can't do it, what you promise, fess up.
Yeah.
I mean that.
Yeah.
That honestly, that goes a lot. That saves a lot of hard feelings later.
Totally. Yeah. Just try to be honest at each point along the way. Like I find that the best, projects for me have been where I've been able to be honest about where we are at all times.
Yeah.
Hey, this person backed out. That really sucks for all of us, but here's the plan of attack going forward. Does anybody else have any other ideas? And often that's all it takes to get people back on board is like, do you guys have any solutions? Because these are the ones that I've come up with, but if anybody else has any ideas as to how to pull this together, I am all ears, So as you said, don't be afraid to quote unquote fail, right? To make mistakes. Just try to include other people in that process if you're brave enough. It's tough, but it's worth it, I think.
Well, yeah, I'd say again, it just saves a ton of hard feelings. So I hope you take this as a compliment. We could probably keep talking for hours.
We could probably keep talking. That's true.
Yeah. So, because I've noticed that I have been here since X amount of time, and we've been here nearly 2 hours, minus our little adventure.
Yeah.
Right.
Always an adventure.
Well, that's always good. So I think at this point, this will probably be airing. We'll say January, February, right before I go fix.
Beautiful.
So. Do you know of anything coming up in January, February, or March for you?
Oh my goodness, that is like way ahead for poetry.
But see, Miss Rockstar, I know for a fact that if you are thinking about, like, as you say, doing shows and things like that, we can advertise them now.
Yes. So unfortunately I have nothing public for January, February. Mostly it's going to be teachers' conventions and gigs like that are private. As we said, still working on that concept album. So but that's going to be a long way out. But hey, people can still catch me on social media. That is where I post all my gigs. So MirandaKrogstad.com, at Miranda K Poet on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. I use Instagram and Facebook more than I use Twitter, but I'm reachable on all those places. And that's where I post my gigs, especially Miranda K. Poet on Facebook is where you can find all of my public shows if people want to come and see what's up.
All right. One sec here. And that was my conversation with Miranda Krogstad. It'll be a little while before we see her back on the podcast again, but she's always welcome. So Miranda, listening to this, thank you. And yeah, always feel free to stop by. What I'm going to talk about before I disappear, though, is Miranda is doing a very cool little project on April 6th. She's doing a collaboration with Josephine Lohr, Wakefield Brewster, and Zaire Seeley at Loft 112 in Calgary on April 6th. Chapbook launch as well, but they're going to be doing a collaboration, also doing quotes from very famous people like Martin Luther King Jr., John Lennon, Gandhi, and Nelson Mandela. You should definitely check it out. I know I'm actually very curious to check it out myself, so hopefully I get that opportunity. And yeah, if you ever get a chance, go see her perform. She's a very, very charismatic performer. She actually has a singing voice. I don't know if she actually believes that or not, but she can sing quite well. But she's a hell of a poet. She's Miranda, and it's awesome. And that will do it for this episode, Just Joshing. If you like what you hear, you can do a couple things. You can subscribe to the podcast, either through Podomatic or through iTunes. You can buy my books, The Watcher, Storm Dancer, or The Wandering God, available through mirrorworldpublishing.com or any other place where books are sold, including Amazon. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Joshua Penteloresco. But beyond all that, stay inspired and dream with your eyes wide open.
Josh.